Hello people, welcome to the Crypto Clips YouTube channel. A new survey found that while Canadians are less likely than Americans to use or invest in cryptocurrencies, they are more likely to think of them as a sustainable investment class. To provide you a background crypto clipper, the Ipsos survey revealed that 24% of Americans would use Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies to purchase goods and services, whereas only 18% of Canadians would do the same. If you want more of this content, subscribe to the Crypto Clips YouTube channel and hit the notification bell. More Americans are more likely to use cryptocurrencies as means to avoid cross-border banking fees, 19% compared to 14%, keep their money from the taxing system, 17% compared to 11%, and send remittances across national borders, 14% compared to 11%. Consumers in Europe are more likely to spend than consumers in the other regions. Canada recently gave cryptocurrency some legitimacy as investments by approving the first publicly traded Bitcoin and Ethereum exchange-traded funds. Canada recently gave cryptocurrency some legitimacy as investments by approving the first publicly traded Bitcoin and Ethereum exchange-traded funds. However, with this new ease of access, financial advisors are increasingly fielding queries from investors wondering whether the time has come to invest in cryptocurrencies. For most investors, the answer is still a clear no. Holding Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies is like a game of hot potato, where you hope to get rid of it before you get burned. While there are unpublished studies that claim cryptocurrencies might have intrinsic value, the mainstream view of economists who study the history of financial markets is that Bitcoin and all other cryptocurrencies are in the throes of a price bubble. And as we all know, bubbles eventually pop. Unfortunately, the only accurate way to predict when that will happen is in hindsight. Cryptocurrency is a high-risk investment, and price is subject to extreme volatility. Prices of cryptocurrency can vary by 20% in one day and 50% in any given month, which is bad for investors who are not prepared for such extreme levels of price changes. Cryptocurrency regulations in China, India, and the US have further diminished the confidence investors have in Bitcoin, likely having an impact on other cryptocurrencies too. In Canada, Tim Lane has recently given a speech about how the many flaws in cryptocurrency such as Bitcoin pose major threats to users. If the Canadian Central Bank ever endorsed digital currencies rather than traditional fiat forms, then there would be a huge change to the existing lineup of digital assets. And regardless of whether governments introducing their own cryptocurrencies, an increase in regulatory pressure means that these existing coins could trade at lower prices. Researchers at Carleton University, Virginia Tech, and Ipsos Public Affairs found that Americans are more likely than Canadians to invest in Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies, or to use cryptocurrencies for payment next year. While Canadians lag their American counterparts, the 20 countries or economies surveyed have better literacy skills. This is due to an exhaustive survey of this particular population. Globally, 1 in 3 or 35% internet users are likely to invest in Bitcoin or another cryptocurrency as a short-term investment, while only 10% say they're very likely to do so. Another 25% are somewhat likely to do so, indicating some level of interest in this form of investment. Similar proportions are likely to invest in cryptocurrencies as a speculative long-term investment. Financial incentives have helped drive these adoption trends. In the United States and Canada, 45% of consumers can expect lower bank fees thanks to cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin. Americans are also more likely than Canadians to use cryptocurrencies to avoid taxes or send remittances across national borders. The Ipsos survey found that Americans are more likely to use Bitcoin to purchase goods and services. The same phenomenon is true with Canadians. They are X% less likely to do so. The survey found that American respondents would more likely than Canadians to use cryptocurrencies to avoid cross-border banking fees, shelter their wealth from taxes, and on sending remittances across national borders. A majority of respondents were white, but the proportions were much lower than in Latin America, Asia-Pacific, the Middle East, and Africa. Globally, of the internet users surveyed, 33% of users plan to invest as a short-term investment into Bitcoin in 2018. In comparison, only 24% of Americans and 17% of Canadians have said they will invest in Bitcoin. Americans have a more pro-cryptocurrency view than Canadians, and the government doesn't see the same profit in cryptocurrencies that it sees with traditional fiat currency. So people may not use cryptocurrency for their day-to-day transactions if they tend to trust their existing fiat currencies, said Hampson, a Regents Professor of International Relations at Carleton University. Simpson of Ipsos noted that interest in cryptocurrencies is lower in Canada than most countries surveyed, given the conservative leadership hopeful Pierre Poilievre advocates for their usage for opt-out of inflation. According to Simpson, he is preaching to a relatively small choir on this topic. Another consideration is that many investors are addressing concerns about social and environmental policies. Cryptocurrencies cannot be considered responsible due to the lack of journalistic integrity. Cryptocurrencies have been criticized for their use of electricity and contributing to global greenhouse gas emissions, but some developers hope to change this by moving to a format that doesn't demand as much power. The currently effective Ethereum has made a switch from proof-of-work methods, but other modified cryptocurrencies pose difficulties for investors. Democratic countries such as Iran are also getting in on the cryptocurrency action, and you have to be careful when investing who might end up profiting off it. Supporters of cryptocurrency argue that prices might keep skyrocketing and that investors shouldn't sit on the sidelines. By the same logic, other people they recommend don't buy lottery tickets because it is a chance, but rather because stocks have shown to do well. They also say that investing at such scale is not an investment, as these items are not stocks or assets. For investors who insist on having some exposure to cryptocurrency, even though there are a lot of concerns, there are a couple of suggestions worth looking into. One option is that they should consider investing in an ETF. These products may come with a management fee, but they minimize the risk associated with the cryptocurrency wallet and also minimize the complexity and risks of fraud or theft. Second, they should be advised only to bet what they can afford to lose. According to Carleton University professor Hampson, there are big differences in attitudes between Canadian consumers and American ones towards cryptocurrencies. There may not be much political capital left for those who want to promote the idea that Canadians will buy cryptocurrencies instead of dollars. According to Simpson of Ipsos, Bitcoin's popularity does not reach Canada to the same extent as other countries. This can be attributed to conservative leadership hopeful Pierre Poilievre's campaign in support of cryptocurrencies, even though this movement is a relatively small one. In the United States, Wyoming Republican Senator Cynthia Lummis has been vocal about her support for cryptocurrencies and is leading efforts to regulate and make them more accepted by society. The senator might have a more receptive audience in the US than Poilievre does in Canada, continues Simpson. A study has shown the desire by younger generations for using cryptocurrencies increased in the last few years. It is most prevalent in the United States. 40% of Americans between 18 to 34 are at least somewhat likely to use a cryptocurrency to buy a good or service in the next year. Simpson stated that interest in cryptocurrencies is lower in Canada than most countries, given that Pierre Poilievre, who is still a contender for the conservative leadership race, has advocated for them. Investors are not so sure about cryptocurrency donations, as they have led to an unknown amount of inflation past leaders. The online poll conducted by Pew shows that use is significantly higher among younger generations for the potential cause of discontentment. 34% of Americans and 29% of Canadians aged 18 to 34 are somewhat likely to use cryptocurrency in the next year. Americans aged 35 to 49 are 22%, and those 75 plus are 6%. Online networks offer people who feel left out a voice and an avenue to participate in the internet economy with cryptocurrency, said Jardine. Jardine was part of the research team that found that many young people felt blocked out of economic opportunity by traditional systems. Cryptocurrencies allow them to have opportunities by giving them hope and giving more access to the digital marketplace. This might be why Mr. Poilievre is using the issue to reach out to younger voters. It might be too early for crypto to become an issue in Canada or the US, but it may also be just a matter of time. Many young voters feel blocked out of the opportunity afforded to them by the current systems, and many seem to find hope in currencies such as cryptocurrencies, notes Dr. Jardine of Virginia Tech. This seems to be one of the reasons why politicians are beginning to take an interest in cryptos, because it might be too early for crypto to become a winning issue. It may also just be a matter of time before a politician brings it up as a campaign strategy to reach out to younger voters. With the advent of advanced technology, this survey gives a true understanding of public opinion in 20 countries. The data were collected from 14,519 individuals, following an online survey in which Ipsos analyzed 14,519 people from 20 global economies. This study was made possible thanks to two leading researchers, Dr. Osler Hampson and Dr. Jardine, with funding from SSHRC program. From the data collected in Canada and America, 19 out of 20 times, these results are accurate within plus-minus 3.5 percentage points. An online poll of 14,000 people in 20 countries reveals an overwhelming majority of younger people looking forward to potential use. 1 in 4 Americans and 29% of Canadians aged 18 to 34 said they are somewhat likely to use cryptocurrency in the next year for purchases. That compares with 22% of Canadians aged 35 to 49 and 6% of those 50 to 74 years old saying the same. Today, many young people feel blocked out of economic opportunity, Jardine of Virginia Tech said. With cryptocurrency, there is hope. For those who feel the current system is somewhat rigged against them, cryptocurrencies can offer an alternative. The survey used country-specific data in Australia, Brazil, Canada, France, Germany, Great Britain, India, Indonesia, Israel, Japan, Kenya, Mexico, Poland, South Africa, Republic of Korea, Singapore, and Turkey. You cannot give an error margin for internet panels. Measuring random samples for online panels is considered to be not authentic. For example, Americans are more likely to use cryptocurrencies to avoid international banking fees, 19% versus 14%, and to shield their wealth from taxes, 17% versus 11%, as well as sending remittances across borders with cryptocurrency, 14% versus 11%. The proportions in APAC are the lowest, but are similar to those polled in Europe. An online poll of more than 14,000 internet users in 20 countries reveals younger generations are much more willing to share their information online. 1 in 4 Americans and 29% of Canadians 18 to 34 say they are somewhat likely to make purchases using cryptocurrency in the next year. That compares with 6% of those 50 to 74 years old saying the same. A survey found that 13% of Americans traded or purchased cryptocurrency in the past year or two, while 24% said they traded stocks in that time frame. Researchers from NORC uncovered that the average trader of cryptocurrency is below 40 years old. The people who trade without a college degree are 55% of all traders, and over 2/5 of the people are not white, 44%. A little less than 1/3 of traders earn less than $60,000 annually. According to Angela Fontes, a vice president in the Economics, Justice, and Society Department at NORC at the University of Chicago, cryptocurrencies are opening up investment opportunities for more diverse investors. It will be important that these investors have access to sound information as they make decisions related to these often more volatile investments. Investing in crypto has had a relatively short period of time, as most investors have only been doing so within the past 6 months. Most investors rely on information found on crypto exchanges themselves, or 26%, general trading platforms like Fidelity or Robinhood 25%, and social media 24%. Only 2% get information from a broker or advisor. Cryptocurrency investing is largely driven by a lack of awareness and limited disposable income. The survey found that 62% of respondents are hesitant to invest because they do not understand the market well enough, and 33% said they do not have the cash necessary. Other barriers cited by respondents included security, 35%, lack of investment knowledge, 31%, and concerns about price volatility, 30%. Among investors who are not yet using cryptocurrency, only 1 in 10 or 11% indicated they were extremely or somewhat likely to invest in cryptocurrency in the next year. This suggests that the market for alternative investments may maintain its current value. Cryptocurrency is a relatively new option for retirement funds, but it is still uncertain exactly what will happen to this investment in the future, said Mark Lush, leader of the Economic Justice and Society Department at NORC. It may be worth investing in cryptocurrencies in the future. We just have no way of telling now. The vast majority of U.S. adults have heard at least a little about cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin or Ether, and 16% say they personally have invested in, traded, or otherwise used them. Men ages 18 to 29 are particularly likely to say they have used cryptocurrencies. A bar chart in a recent nationwide survey shows that about 90% of Americans have at least heard about cryptocurrency, with 16% saying they have invested or traded it. According to a survey of U.S. adults conducted in September 2021, 86% have heard at least a little about cryptocurrencies, including 24% who hear a lot about them. Some 13% have not heard anything at all. In 2015, the Pew Research Center asked Americans to estimate their awareness about Bitcoin. At the time, 48% of adults said they had heard of Bitcoin, and just 1% said they had ever collected, traded, or used it. That's it for this video, Crypto Clipper. Remember to subscribe to our channel, and if you feel like we've delivered value, please share this video with one person. That's right, just one person, as a token of your appreciation for the hard work we put into making content that educates and helps you on your mission of building your own fortune. Remember, you can watch video after video, but it isn't until you actually take action that you'll start to see results. See you soon!